there! I'm Chris Rachel Osland, your kitchen overlord, here with the crew of Fanboy TV in our lair at the base of an extinct volcano. And this holiday season, we are reviewing all of the kitchen products that you possibly could ever want if you want to nerd up your life. And today, in honor of my exciting new gaming dress, we are starting with D20 stuff. So, man, I got mixed feelings about this stuff. What do you guys think?
I think it's really cute. I used to cook for my gaming group when they would come over to play D&D, and I would try to make it thematic, and sometimes it would be, things would get kind of silly, and these would be perfect if they work.
I think they're nifty. I can see this going to a food fight.
Yes, they're just the right size, in fact, for a food fight. So let's talk about the #1 product people have asked me about over at Kitchen Overlord, and that is the exciting, the packaging completely fell apart on us, but the Critical Hit Mini Cake Pan. Now, have you guys actually seen this thing in person live?
No, this is the first time I've taken a look at it. Ooh.
You open it up, and you get 2 hollow interior portions that you put your stuff in. Let's pretend this is raw dough. You put it in there. You can lock it down, let it rise inside, and then bake it. And it's completely safe up to, what is it, 480, I believe, on these things.
Yeah.
So 480.
Here's the question most people have about this. Can you get the numbers they promise on here? And the answer is, kinda. So take a look at this, guys. Here's an actual piece of cake that I made in it using good, exciting blue velvet cake mix, which you can find on the bottom aisle of just about anything. And let's put one of these over here. We're going to do a close-up on the cake so you get a really good idea what that looks like in comparison to the rest. As you can see, looking at this close-up of the cake, you have no number definition at all. The bottom of it gets a little burned. The top of it's not raw, it's just the color cake is supposed to be. Back up here, with the rest of them, however, you can get a little bit of number action going on them if you leave it in there overnight. So I made 3 types of bread because I want these to work so very badly. Oh my goodness, do I want them to work. So I made some challah, and I made some purple sweet potato bread because we had purple sweet potatoes here in Austin right now. And, you know, on the best one of them, you can see about, what, a third of the numbers?
I'd say more than that. I mean, there's an impression, even when it's not very good. But if you take a look at the packaging, the example is iced, and the number is drawn on with a different color icing. Yeah. So while ideally you would want the numbers to be burned into the object, clearly they're intending you to use them as a guideline.
Yeah, they have, like, on the same packaging and in the text on the back, they do say that you can get the numbers on there. But, you know, I make food for a living, and I did this 3 times, as you can tell, with the 3 different types of bread here. And I wasn't able to get any one die out of 3 different batches with 3 different materials to have numbers on all 4 sides.
Any one D6.
Any one D20.
Oh,
whoops.
We've all failed miserably.
I look forward to your letters.
I have an actual D20 in my hand. I'm kind of comparing. My only problem is, as a D&D fan, as a role player, the big number you always want is not 1. It's 20.
Exactly.
And I cannot,
because
for the life of me, find 20.
Because the 20 is the side that sticks up. So what happens when you bake this, for those of you that wonder?
No, the 20 is in the bottom.
Oh, the 20 is in the bottom?
Yeah.
I guess I just never got a 20 to come out.
I guess this is supposed to be the 20 here.
Yeah, this one kind of.
We're asking, and that really tells you everything you need to know. So one of the things it says on the packaging is it says that it's a cupcake mold. Right there it says mini cake pan. If you make a cake, you're not, I mean, it's delicious, don't get me wrong, but and you'll get a hex, but you're not going to get anything close to what they have on there. So you really want to make bread. If you do not fill the bread all the way up, let's go take another close-up here. If you don't fill the bread all the way up, what you'll end up with is that instead of that. You'll end up with just a dinner roll. So what you want to do is fill these all the way up so that the dough is sticking out of the top of this thing once you seal it all the way up. And it's going to rise all the way up, poof out, and you're just going to have to go and saw it off. Like, carefully with a knife. Do not cut into the silicone because that makes it poisonous. You can't use it anymore. Trust me on that. So you're going to overdo it on that. You're going to have one side that you have to cut. These ones I took out after about an hour of resting, this being the sweet potato bread. They've got some faint impressions on there, as you can see. That's great. The challah, on the other hand, I went ahead and left in there all night long. I just left them overnight so they could really solidify. What that means is if you want to get those numbers on there hard and fast, you have to have stale bread for your people because, you know, 2-day-old homemade bread is not fantastic.
Yeah.
You can get a hex shape though. So here's my problem. If they had just said, we have some awesome hex-shaped molds, I would have been like, yes, hex-shaped mold. Where they went wrong was promising that you can get the numbers on it instead of just telling you to go draw it on there yourself. You also can't ice them. Like, well, you could ice these and you'd be fine, although it's going to drip all over the place. But if you ice the ones with the numbers that actually managed to make it on there, you're going to completely cover up those numbers. So what was the point? And again, this is a total nitpicking thing. This is, hands down, the best executed thing I've seen where you're making it completely enclosed, trying to make a form out of that. And it's durable, it's relatively easy to clean. As you can tell, I was using mine right up until we came into the studio and have been able to do it 3 times. I'm going to give it a B+.
That seems fair.
I give it a B+ too. I think one of the things is, if you're noticing, I was kind of playing with the inside.
Yeah.
The numbers are just shallow enough if it was a real die. But when you're doing casting of any type, and you can even just, you make it deeper.
Yeah.
You need to make it deeper. This is just deep enough for the real numbers.
Yeah.
It needed to be, I'd say it's about 1/8 of an inch off of the real silicone. It needed to be almost maybe
I'd say
a quarter.
twice as
If
thick.
that.
Twice
with
as
that.
thick.
If we go back to a close-up here so you can really see the interior numbers on this. Yeah, we'll just get the rest of that stuff out of the way. So you can really see the interior numbers on it. And they're just not that deep is the thing. They're not embossed all that hard. If they'd made it, I think literally 2 or 3 times deeper.
Right.
Yeah.
About a
And that
quarter
would
of
have
an
really
inch.
impressed in.
And that wouldn't have made them any rise up off the side very much more, even if they'd made them 2 or 3
And
times
since they're
deeper.
silicone, they'll just bend out anyway.
Yeah.
So Think Geek, our suggestion to you, version 2 of this, make it a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
You'll probably get something better out of it.
Now, that said, he's completely right that this is great for a food fight. You can have a wonderful time with it. You can only make 4 of them at a time. You can put as many of them in the oven as you want, though.
So a full adventure party.
Exactly, exactly. And they're just fun. Like, as a straight-up hex, it's just fun. I left the seams on. That's true. What have we got here?
1.
I think I rolled
I botched.
So I recommend going ahead and giving it a try. Just don't be too obsessed over getting the numbers on there.
And some things that are really nice, like you mentioned when we were speaking before, there's a key on the 2 sides, so you know which way to orient them, and there are little locking nubbies and slots, so that you can pop it down and secure it, and the rising of the bread won't push the lid off and mess up the shape.
That's one of the things I really liked, because once that was all locked in place, and these nubbies actually make it very, very secure, what ended up happening was I would have a good 1/2 inch of dough above it. I experimented with several different sizes of dough on this, like just wads putting in there, and the ones that didn't fill it all the way, you ended up with a normal curved top. It looked more like a dinner roll. The only way to make that full hex shape, again, dinner roll, is to go ahead and just let it rise out of there and just saw that off, and that's your little personal roll to eat.
I also think this would be great for kids.
Yeah, as long as the kids aren't expecting the D20 numbers on it.
I don't think they would really care. I think in most cases they just roll it and scream a number.
Cthulhu says this is a natural 20!
Ooh,
like
this
something
would
out of
actually
Guys
be good
and Dolls.
Cthulhu dice.
Yes. Well, thank you very much. We'll be back with more exciting kitchen reviews. We've got some more D20 goodness coming up for you next week.